Hello, I have a update on this board that I've created for digital controller. I'll show you what I'm doing. Basically, I've kind of gotten rid of all this power circuit, even though it's still here. I'm just using the FT232H controller, and I'm using for GPIO outputs to control these, and it seems to work fine this way. So I'll just go ahead and show you, how it works. I mean, not everybody can do this. Some people, they can do this. They know what they're doing. So I'm just connecting a USB-C, and then I'm connect 5 volts. 5 volts is required for the relay board, and it's external 5 volts with a fuse. External 5 volts with a fuse. So I'll plug that in, and I'll just show you that it works. I created my own. This is my functional test that I wrote, software I wrote, and I created a test procedure with this to show you that it works. So I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. I use controller 2, and this is what I used. If I were to edit this, I'll show you what I used. I used the first one was add a test dialog with no user response, and the rest of them was add a test dialog with no dialog and with no user response. Add a test with no dialog and no user response, and that's what I use for all of these. But anyway, this software, you can get the source code. I've already given you the source code for this, and it works because this is working right now. This is already my default project. I'll go back to the functional test so you can see it. These are my scripts that I'm using. The ones I'm using now are the ones that say start 4 new, start 3 new, start 2 new, start 1 new. The difference between them, I'll show this to you really quick, is basically this part right here. That's all I'm changing. It'll be a 0 to set everything to 0, 1 for the first one relay, 2 for the second relay, 3 for the third relay, 4 for the fourth relay. I could show you that here. So there's a 2. Here's a 3. And notice it says out select 2.py because I created a different routine for this one. Here's the fourth one. So it just says 4 right here. Here's this one here, and this is this sets everything to 0 right here. This right here, this would send out exit code 7 and 8. It's for passing and failing and stuff for when you call your tests. This is just for the controller. This is the Python scripts that it's calling to run. So everything in here is, this is what I do to make this thing work. So here's the very top line, and it goes all the way down to here. That's it. It's a very short script. And then I'll go ahead and show you that it works. I'll go ahead and use a serial number, and I'm going to call this, you'll see that I've tested it out multiple times. So I'm going to call this one 3, 2, 1 TU7, like that. So that'll be the serial number for this one. And I'm just going to show you that it works. I'll press start, and it tells you connect test cable to J32. I really don't have anything to connect to. Turn on power supply. I don't really have a power supply turn on, and press continue to run the test. So it should turn. That will be the first test. That's the second test. That's the third test. And that would be the fourth test. Now you have to remember that these are relays, so it's making a connection from the normally open is now going to be closed. That's what it's doing, is connecting those, and it's disconnecting the normal closed, and it's making those open. So it would work for taking measurements, voltage measurements. If you wanted to do that, I mean, you could turn stuff on and off, but it's a relay. It's a relay board. That's what it's for. But it would be good for functional tests, so you can take measurements and just use 1 voltmeter instead of multiple voltmeters. So it would reduce your cost for your test sets. So anyway, that was my idea of that. I'll show you a few other things on this to make it so you can understand what I'm doing, but I'll be right back because I want to make this video where it's not too long. This is my proof of my concept that this test runs, and you can use 1 volt meter versus 4 volt meters. The way I have connected this part of the board, there's one LED, and this LED would be where I'd be taking my voltage measurement. But instead of an LED, it'd be a voltmeter or probe point. But I'm just going to prove the concept. I'll show you, that I changed this functional test a little bit, and I made a controller 3. And on this one, you'll see that I initialize it, I run a test, then I initialize it, then I run the second test, I initialize it, I run the third test, I initialize it, I run the fourth test, and then I reinitialize it. And when I reinitialize, basically I'm turning all the outputs off. That way, none of the outputs are on at the same time. It's just one output each time. So basically one relay at a time. I'll go back to the functional test, and I'll now run this, and I'll show you that it works. Again, I'll go ahead. I'll just put a serial number. That sounds good. So I'll go ahead and put a serial number in here, and I'll go ahead and just start it. Okay, now I'll go to the folder where the test results are, and I'll show you that the test results are stored. That would be under this area here, and it would be the new file. I've already practiced it by running it a couple of times, but you can see that it stored the data. You can see it's currently 11:40 p.m. So I've been working on this tonight just to make sure it works. Shows you all the test results, and everything is stored in here as it's supposed to be. And this could be something you could use for automating your own tests. So this is just to prove the concept works. Here's a serial number. You can see that stored it. I've given the source code to the software away. I've given it to you already. It's the same source code, and I can give that out to you again. It's not a big deal. But this is in C#, and it was written using Visual Studio. So if you want to use it, you can use it. The board, it's just this board connected to FT232H. The USB board is a $14 board, $15 board, and this relay board is $7. So that's a way to reduce costs. Anyway, have a good day. This is the Adafruit board that I'm using. I'm connecting C0, C1, C2, and C3. These are the only GPIOs that I'm using to control the outputs of this relay board that I'm controlling. I have a picture here. So what I've done is I'm not using the Raspberry Pi. What I'm doing is I got the pin out from the Raspberry Pi because that's the connector. Raspberry Pi connector is connected to this. This would normally connect to this board, but I'm using it for my own purposes with a different board. And C0 from the Adafruit board is going to this one. C1 is here, C2 is here, and C3 is here. I've connected only one ground, which was this one, and then I connected one power, which is right here. They should already be connected internally on the board, but all I needed was 5 volt here, ground here, C0, C1, C2, and C3, and that's it. And this thing seems to be working. I don't have any problems with it. Again, I read from I read about the Adafruit board, and it has a 3.3 and a 5 volt. Don't use those for this. If you try to draw too much current from those, it'll damage your USB port on your computer. At least that's what this their documentation says. So that's how I've connected this. It's working. I kind of followed this document and the setups and everything to make this thing work, and it works well. For the board that for the program that I wrote, where I'm controlling this, I have my functional test over here. This is the one I was using. It has result files. So this is the new one I've done, controller 2. You'll notice that it stored the results because it has, it'll say pass fail when it finishes the test. When it runs the test, it finishes the test. So you can see that was a new one I ran today. You just saw that, this one at the bottom. That's a good part of this. It gives you the time and date stamp. It tells you, what the project name is, what the test name is. It gives you the location of the test that you're running and the test name of the test you're running. It gives you your pass-fail results, which is inside of the batch files that I have here. And then, I tested it over and over again on multiple, before I did this program, before I did the video to make sure it was going to work. And then this is the one that I just ran. It looks like, about 9:50 p.m. and now it's 9:58 p.m. So I'll go ahead and end this video here. And, I just want to say this, if you're working or anybody from Clark County, Oklahoma area, Denton, Texas area, Dallas, Texas, Irving, Texas, Austin, Texas, Intel Corporation, I don't care who they are, you probably can't trust them. These are the kind of people that will fake your daughter's death. They'll hide the truth. They'll use the police to torture you into homelessness. And they'll make it where you can't do anything but sit on your mother's couch waiting for the stupid police to tell the truth about them hiding the truth about your daughter being alive. They'll just keep putting you in jail. They will not tell the truth. So anyway, I want to say have a good day. I'm basically homeless. I can't do nothing until the police tell the truth about my daughter being alive, and they will not tell the truth. They're a bunch of crooked cops. Have a good day. Bye.